Most couples think the fight is what damages the relationship. It usually is not. What causes real harm is what happens after the fight ends. This is Sandy Hancock, relationship coach, and today I want to talk about 5 ways conflict quietly gets worse after the fight and how couples protect the work of repairing instead. Fights can cause real damage in a relationship, but what couples do afterwards often determines whether that damage heals or quietly deepens. So today I want to talk about 5 things you should never do after a fight if you want repair instead of distance. The first is never rush resolution just to feel better. After a fight, one partner often wants peace immediately, not because the issue is resolved, but because the discomfort feels overwhelming. That can look like pushing for quick agreement, apologizing before understanding what actually happened, or saying it's fine when it's not. The problem is not wanting peace. The problem is confusing speed with repair. But here's the part that matters. Slowing things down only works when there is clear agreement about when the conversation will come back. Otherwise, the partner who is anxious for resolution feels like the issue is being swept under the rug and resentment grows quietly. Healthy couples do not rush resolution, but they do not leave things open-ended. They agree on a time to return to the conversation, soon enough to feel safe, clear enough to feel contained. That is what allows both partners to regulate without disconnecting. The second thing couples should never do after a fight is this: never punish with silence. Space can be healthy. Silence as punishment is not. When one partner goes quiet with no explanation, no time frame, and no reassurance, the other partner is left guessing. Silence becomes a power move instead of a pause. This is especially damaging when one partner needs reassurance and the other needs space. That is why silence and rushing after fuel each other. One partner pushes for resolution, the other retreats. Both feels unsafe. Again, the solution is not forcing closeness, it is structured space. Space with a return point. Space that says, we are still a team, we just taking a breath. That leads directly to the third thing couples should never do. Never rehearse the fight endlessly in your head. Replaying the argument, building a stronger case, re-experiencing the hurt without containment. When couples agree on a time to come back to the conversation, rehearsal loses its grip. Your mind no longer has to stay on high alert. You are not afraid of the issue will be ignored. Containment reduces rumination. That is why timing matters so much after conflict. This is one of the core communication breakdowns I address in my book, Let's Talk. Not how to avoid conflict, but how to return to conversations in ways that restore safety instead of escalating fear. The fourth thing couples should never do after a fight is this: never recruit outsiders carelessly. Talking to someone can be helpful, but not everyone who listens is protecting the relationship. Outside voices should be used sparingly, and ideally, they should be people both partners trust to care about the health of the relationship, not just one person's feelings. That might be a pastor, a counselor, or a trusted mentor who values unity, not sides. When outsiders are chosen wisely, they support repair. When they are chosen impulsively, they deepen division. And finally, The fifth thing couples should never do after a fight: never confuse accountability with shame. Repair does not mean keeping score. It does not mean revisiting the failure over and over. And it does not mean making the other person feel small in order to feel safe. Compassion and forgiveness are not weakness. They're what allow couples to find their way back to being a team. The goal after a fight is not to win, it is not to be right, it is return to the partnership. After a fight, both partners are usually carrying fear: fear of being misunderstood, fear of being dismissed, fear of being alone in the relationship. That is why what happens next matters so much. When couples slow things down with intention, create space with structure, limit outside influence with wisdom, and choose compassion without shame, repair becomes possible. And if you are a couple of faith, this is also where trust comes in. Trusting God does not mean avoiding hard conversations. It means approaching them with humility, patience, and a shared desire for restoration. You do not have to fix everything in one conversation. You do not have to resolve everything perfectly. You just need to protect the bond while you work through it. If this conversation feels familiar and you want to help learning how to talk through conflict without damaging connection, my book, Let's Talk, was written for you. It's about communication that restores safety, not escalates fear. I will leave a link in the description if you would like to explore it. Because healthy couples are not the ones who never fight, they are the ones who know how to come back together afterward.